Hi, Laurel. How are you?
I'm awesome. How are you, Vanessa?
I'm doing very well, thank you. For anyone tuning in to watch us Wednesdays today, I'm just talking a little bit more with Laura Lindsay, who's the founder and CEO of the New Media Marketing Group. And today we're going to be talking a little bit specifically about lifting the blog fog, as it were, about how blogging is important now for business marketing. I just want to tell you why you think, or blogging has become probably more an effective tool in the past years for business marketing.
Sure, yeah, I'd love to. What's really great about the internet, one of the reasons I love it so much is because it allows you to have your own publishing platform. And as an entrepreneur, you used to have to pay to get in the newspaper or a billboard or whatever. And with a blog, you can have a publishing platform that you've designed yourself, you've set up yourself. In most cases, you can get free ones from WordPress. And this is a place where you can showcase information about your business that'll help build trust with consumers. So that's the main reason. And then sort of ways to use a blog that are generally quite successful in helping to engage with prospects and generate new sales is it's such a great place to demonstrate what you know and information about your products and services and how you solve your customers' problems. So say, for example, you are a painter. You can talk about painting tips, how to choose different paint colors, things to watch for when you're hiring a painting contractor, how often you need to paint, all these types of things. And by demonstrating your knowledge and your experience, it helps to build trust with your consumers. So that's one of the reasons blogging is so great. The other reason is regularly blogging helps you get found on search engines like Google. So when people are looking for, say, for example, a painter, the more you're blogging, the more it gives Google, the machine, a sort of food, and they'll be more likely to show you in the search results when people are searching for what you offer. So it's a great way to get more exposure, build trust. Yeah.
Because also too, if you are blogging and your blog becomes popular for that particular business, and then people are maybe tweeting or they're talking about on social media about your blog, then does that also increase search engine optimization?
It does, and I'm so glad you brought that up. So if you have a little sharing set of icons somewhere on your blog where people can share the article, that creates a tremendous amount of exposure and credibility for your organization. So it sends out, of course, your blog throughout the social media platforms, so Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. But then that also drives traffic back to your website, which shows Google that it's a popular website.
Okay.
Search engine ranking. So it's such an effective tool. And then it also gives you something to post to your social networks if you're not sure, what should I be posting to Facebook every day? Well, post your blog.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually a really great way to do that. Now, because there is social media blogging, digital marketing blogging, and web design blogging, I just wanted to know, is there any differences in the content that you should provide for those? Or can a business have, say, one general blog that's applicable to all different platforms?
It kind of depends on how much your niches overlap. So if you have, say, for example, I have a lot of customers that have two separate businesses and two separate niches. And just for search engine optimization and ranking purposes, it's ideal to have two separate blogs for two separate niches, unless they're really tied in.
Gotcha.
So a really common thing is for, like I've got one customer that does kitchen cabinetry and all these things, and then they also do custom home building. So in a case like that, it's good to have two different blogs. But in a case where they do kitchen cabinets and they also do bathroom cabinets, then you can have that on one spot.
Similar blog. But you could have probably the same blog or could you have the same blog for your website that would also be applicable for your marketing strategy on social media?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if it's the same company.
Yeah, definitely. So for your marketing strategy for social media, it's usually a combination of what we call created content and then curated. Okay. So created content is stuff that your organization is actually making from scratch. So blog posts would be a great example. Yeah. And curated is stuff that you are sharing from other sources.
Okay, I see. Now, how often should somebody who is blogging with their business, how often should they be updating the information? Just as a kind of standard rule of thumb.
Rule of thumb would be don't leave it any longer than 30 days. Okay. I usually advocate consistency over quantity. So even if you can only blog once a month, that's fine, as long as you're sticking to that. Or if you can only do it once a quarter, that's fine as well. But just if it's consistent, then you're maintaining more trust with your consumers. Like they know it's going to be every 30 days or 90 days. I blog once a week, but it's taken me several years to be able to build up that momentum and get to the point of being able to do that. And so a lot of companies, they ask for help and they get ghostwriters, they get digital marketing companies to help them ghostwrite, because a lot of our clients and a lot of business owners aren't really that great of a writer, right?
No, that's true. Also, that's actually was going to be something that I was going to say was, do you recommend that somebody get somebody else to curate the information, or that they delegate that task, or do you think in the beginning stages it's important for a business owner to really oversee what the content of their blog is?
I think it's kind of a mixed bag. The best thing to do is to start blogging and consistently blog. So however you can get that done. Usually, if you feel like there's nobody who could particularly understand your niche as well as you, then I would say do something like write out a couple jot notes, just some technical terms, and then get a writer to fill it in and finesse it for you. Or if you feel more comfortable talking as opposed to writing, you can actually record stuff on your smartphone and it'll type it up for you, and then you can edit it.
Yeah.
In terms of completely ghostwriting, some companies do feel comfortable delegating that to digital marketing companies. We do that for our clients, but it's taken some time to build up the trust where we'll create that article for the client, send it to them, have them review it, make sure that they feel comfortable, and then we'll post it to their website. So we put in a review process, and then after a couple months, once they sort of trust it and we've got everything tweaked to make sure that they're happy and we know what their specifications are, then we can just go ahead and post it to their site for them.
Oh, that's awesome. And then one of the final questions that I have for you about that is, when you are creating a blog for your business, or for a business, do you talk to them about interspersing, obviously, information with some more of a kind of personality component? Is it deemed to be professionally acceptable to have sort of like an online personality within the framework of a blog?
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually sort of it's interesting that you bring this up, because in the realm of personal branding and corporate branding, the things that stick out are things that are really original, slightly controversial, and having a personality is much better than just being generic. But a lot of companies are finding it difficult to transition over to that sort of more personality-based thing. Also, it can be difficult when there's multiple parties in the organization. So it's not just one guy, it's 30 people or whatever. So if you can, as a solopreneur, absolutely. I recommend rant, rave, be a little bit silly, be funny. Don't necessarily be too politically correct, because those are the types of posts that get shared more. People want something that's real as opposed to sort of politically correct, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, because the majority of us are not always politically correct in our real lives. So I'm sure it's nice to have that kind of relatability, and I mean, showing a little bit of personality through social media marketing, through your blog posts, through your website. I mean, would you say that that helps to establish a relationship between consumer and business that would promote more loyalty in the long term?
Yeah, absolutely, because it sets you up to be remembered, first of all, and then to be trusted, and then sort of the first thing that happens is you've got a relationship, right? So you're resonating with your readership, and so yeah, it builds more trust. It builds it increases the chances that that person reading your blog is going to then become a client or a customer. So it's sort of a marketing tactic. There's a book by Seth Godin called Tribes, and it's about figuring out what your tribe cares about and what your target audience and your target client, your favorite client, what they care about, what their language is, and really speaking to them. And that way you really build up that following. And then you'll generally alienate everyone else.
Yeah, but still, having a really loyal core group probably doesn't hurt in the long run. And that's actually, I think, such a great thing just for other areas of life. I was just thinking that's a great way to not be totally overwhelmed, because you can't appeal to absolutely everybody. So it's probably better to concentrate exactly where you need to be seen and heard the most.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And that's where you come in and tell people what those audiences are.
And just where they are and how to communicate with them, what they care about. I always advocate, if you really are interested in starting to blog, one thing to really pay attention to is what kind of questions are your customers always asking you for, and then, you can elaborate and write an entire blog post just answering a question. And that way, for sure you're really addressing your clients' and customers' concerns and questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I guess that probably creates a little bit more space for, those questions to progress and become more and more and more in depth.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it gives you ideas, because one of the biggest struggles that people have is, well, what do I write about? Because they can't be objective about their own business because they're in it. So this way, by listening to what your customers are asking you, it gives you an endless source of ideas. Also, another thing you can do is check out your Google Analytics. So it's a free website tracking software provided by Google. You just need to install it. And in there, you'll see the keywords that people are typing in to get to your website. And you'd be surprised, some of the really interesting and unique phrases that are typed into Google, and you can address those questions directly as well.
Oh, wow, that's so wonderful. All right, Laurel, honestly, I always learn so much every time I talk to you. So thank you for taking a little bit more time out of your day to answer these questions about blogging and why they're successful as a business marketing tool nowadays. So
My
take
pleasure.
care. Thank you again, and we'll see you next week. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in to Watch Us Wednesdays.
Thanks so much, Vanessa. Take care.
Always
Bye-bye.
pleasure.